Now, when you look at the thumbnail, you got two um, examples of women and their clothing out in public in front of other people to see. Now, the one on the right is the appropriate garment that the Lord tells women to wear when they're in public, outside where people can see them and observe them. And the one on the left is a lady at a restaurant, and she's in some kind of uh, sports bar or seafood restaurant, and she's got her girlfriend taking a picture of what she got on in these people restaurant while people eating food. So you got two examples of so-called black women in their apparel to show you the extremes and to show you the path that two different paths that these women are on. And so we're going to use the Israelites as an example because they are pretty much something that's accessible to everyone because most people got a Bible in their house, and that's not by accident. Now, when you go into Psalms 50, it says, out of Zion, Psalms 50, verse 2, it says, out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God have shined. So, out of Zion, you're going to get the perfection of beauty. What beauty is in the perfected way. It ain't going to get no better than the women of Zion. Now, when you go to 1 Corinthians 11, verse 7, it says, the women is the glory of man. The women are the glory of man. So if Zion is out of Zion, you have the beauty. It's not talking about the men, even though the men can be on the same level, but it says that the glory of man is the women. Their women is where they're gonna get their glory. And when you think about beauty, you instantly think about a woman. Now, when you go to Lamentations, it speak on the Israelites. It's in Lamentations chapter 2, verse 15. It says, all that pass by clap their hands at you. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem. Now, and another thing, Jerusalem is always called a daughter. See, it's always called a woman. That's not by accident. It says at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? You see, and when you look at the so-called black woman, everyone want to act like the black woman, dress like the black woman. Everyone wants to sing like the black woman, dance like the black woman, so-called black woman. Because the evidence is clear to me that there's no other woman that people are calling the perfection of beauty. Who create beauty stores for any other women? You don't have the Koreans creating beauty stores for any other nation, any other group of women. They bombard America with a so-called black woman, the descendants of slaves, and they put up beauty salons and beauty stores. See, because everybody else realize who these women are, but the women just don't understand who they are. Then you have um, the whole industry of uh, what cosmetics and wigs and hair is based off the American, so-called American black woman, so-called. And these women pretty much is the example of what you want to call beauty. Then you look at the stars. Who are the most popular stars? You got Beyonce, you got uh, Halle Berry, Janet Jackson, um, Tyra Banks, just to name some well-known names. These women are seen all over the world as famous women, but they stick out because they coming from the same group of women. And so these if you have a group of women that's the perfection of beauty, how would they dress? How would God recommend them to dress? You see, and he ain't doing no recommendations. He giving commands. What did he command the Israelites to do? They're women. Let's see here. Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy 22 verse 5. Let's get that one first. Deuteronomy 22 and 5. It says, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man. You see, this lady got on male underwear. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. So a man shouldn't be wearing some woman's garment impersonating a woman. For all that do so are an abomination unto God. See, they're an abomination. And when you go into the laws of the Israelites, some of those laws was death sentences. If you was operating in a certain way, some of those laws was death sentences. Let's go and look. Let me get Leviticus, because let's get the seriousness of the situation. Let's see here. Leviticus was given to the Levitical priesthood, who was the police pretty much of the nation of Israel. They served as the police who did all the judging and law giving. They was the lawgivers and enforcers. Okay, Leviticus, let's get Leviticus chapter 21. Let's see here. Leviticus 21 verse 9. It says, the daughter of any priest. And see, the nation of Israel was known as a kingdom of priests. See, their men were priests. It says, the daughter of any priest, if she profane herself by playing the whore, she profaneth her father, she shall be burnt with fire. You see, the women in the nation of Israel, they knew not to play no game. They was not gonna play games in that nation because they don't know when the judgment gonna come on them. And if they did, it was probably when they was in captivity, serving a sentence of bondage because of their men pretty much disobeying the laws. Now, so just playing the whore, she can get burned with fire, and a priest couldn't marry a woman that was a whore. They had to marry a virgin. So it's not something that was promoted in the nation of Israel with the Israelites. Now, when you go to Proverbs 7 and 10, it say, and behold, there met him a woman with an attire of an harlot. See, it's a certain way you dress will represent uh, a harlot. A harlot has a specific way they dress. And this is what our women here in America, they don't understand. That you can dress like an harlot. All garments and any way you dress um, is not up for interpretation, you know, like the scriptures. Is that there's no interpretation, no private interpretation of the scriptures. There's no private interpretation of the attire of a harlot. The attire of a harlot is well known because the attire of a decent woman is well known. Let's get that in Timothy. 1 Timothy chapter 2 and 9, it says, in like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel. See, women should wear modest apparel, meaning they shouldn't be out in nobody's restaurant with no drawers on. And they shouldn't be wearing no um dress that's hugging all of their curves and their breasts where you can see all of the body part. Pretty much you got on the dress, but it's like you wearing a see-through dress. See, that's not modest. Because it's not just about a dress coming down to your ankles, covering covering your body is what is visible to a man. See, that's modest. And these women do not understand that because they went to the so-called Christian church and they don't tell the women, they don't, you will not ever cut on any uh preacher's sermon, and they got thousands of them on the internet. None of the Christian preachers would preach on some clothing. He would never do so because he's set up by people that don't like our people. They're jealous of our women, first of all, and they would never um, promote our women to dress in an appropriate way. They don't even want them to think in that term. And so this is a major problem because when you're talking about a man, see, most women know when they dealing with a man, if they then they got a lot of pranks online. If you dealing with a man and you try to walk at that house, you try to leave out of that house not dressed in a certain way, in a modest way, he is gonna give you all kind of lip attitude and he gonna be ready to fight. This is a clear indication that these women are doing wrong and they don't understand what they're doing, but a lot of them do. They just want attention. They looking for attention and they feeding into this feminist walk outside with no clothes. Effeminate to see that these other nations that are not a part of uh, the so-called black women, they set laws into place where you can do uh, things that's just retarded. Like in I think Colorado, they say old women can walk around with no shirt on. They call it the breast something. The breast they can walk around with their breast out pretty much. In 2020, um, something they coming out with these laws because they trying to get the so-called black women to follow their footsteps like they followed them in the feminist movement. Well, oh, you want to kill your child? Go ahead and kill it. We got abortion clinics all around your neighborhood. Just go right up in there and get you 500 to $600 and go in there. You can kill your baby. We not gonna take you to jail. It's not illegal. You can kill your baby if you want to. See, this is what these other nations do because they know who you are. See, but these our women don't know who they are, first of all, so they don't live by no code. They live by the code of the slave master's daughters and the slave master, his religion. See, because in this book that I just demonstrated that it's abomination for these women to come out their house with unmodest apparel, dressed like a man or showing their body parts in a certain way. So who are they getting this from? See, they're getting it from the slave master. That's who they're getting it from. You're not getting that from your man because when he see you walk out that house, he gonna tell you to put on some clothes. He gonna tell you where are you going. But some of these simps be with these women and these drug dealers, they'll let you do whatever you want to do because they wicked and they want to live by no standards. They don't want you to hold them at no by no standard, so they don't hold you by no standard. Go do what you're gonna do and come on back and see. They don't care, but the men that care, they gonna be looking at you crazy and ready to leave you and divorce you if you leave that house. You see that now in this society, nobody understands this, and they following the so-called white woman and the so-called white man into their destruction. See, they that's why you got a goat. What do you call him? A Judas goat, and the Judas goat lead the sheep into the slaughterhouse. And these so-called white people is known as the goat. That's why when Yahweh Shah, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, in Matthew 25, he talk about the sheeps and the goats. See, the sheeps is the Israelites, and the goats is the so-called white man. He the one is gonna lead these people into destruction. He is the Judas goat. He gonna go against everything that the sheep's supposed to be doing. That's gonna bring life to the sheep. He represent death to the sheep. What's that? Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. He represent death to the sheep. And these so-called black women are the sheep. And they been led into the slaughter. Like what? First Timothy verse 5 and 6, it say, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. See, they don't understand that they chasing pleasure all around the world. Let's go to Dubai. Let's go to get something to eat. Let's go have some fun. I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. And that's just the mentality that the so-called white man, who is the Judas goat, leading them into death, because they got these women seeking pleasure. I want to wear something to get me attention and get me some pleasure, and everybody see me with this on, it's gonna they get me some attention, and they gonna get some pleasure out of this attention that they getting. But that attention gonna lead you to death. And so these women are gonna be it's gonna be a major slaughter that these Judas goats is leading these women into, because the Lord ain't gonna play with them. See, he say, what in Proverbs 13:13, uh, if you despise his words and his instructions and guidelines, you will be destroyed. He will destroy you. And we seeing what's going on with these so-called black women. They're being utterly destroyed, and you can't even try to protect them. I try to protect them on this page, and the so-called white woman and the white man, they on they sending me some talking about suicidal thing. How is somebody in a suicidal mind frame when uh, they trying to give instructions to their women? If you need any help, we here for you. And if you feeling like you gonna commit suicide, what? I'm reading scriptures to these women, trying to tell them the instruction of the Lord, but you talking about some suicidal thoughts. How what do you get suicide out of that? But see, that's how the devil is so bent on focusing on our women, wanting our women to be destroyed and trying to lead our women into destruction. Anybody that's trying to save our women, they're gonna attack them. See, and our women don't understand their their importance, because it goes back to that lamentation. Let me read that again. I'm gonna close out with that lamentation. Lamentations chapter 2 verse 15. It says, all that pass by clap their hands at you. See, these dragons, they see you um strung out on drugs. They see you in these strip clubs. They see you walking around half naked in the grocery store. See, they clapping their hand. They say they hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, see, they laughing and think it's funny that you are totally destroyed as a group of women, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? See, the whole earth is being uh, under submission when it comes to the beauty of our women. See, they can't they can't put no stuff in their lips and no stuff in their butts that's gonna look real. Most people gonna know it's fake, but they doing it so you know who they trying to look like. And then they taking pills to make their skin black or dark, because there ain't no such thing as a black skin. No skin is black. Skin is only brown. So they got taking pills to make their skin dark brown, because they want to be, and we talking about the so-called white woman. They trying to be a black woman, a so-called black woman, because they know who these black women are. They know who they are, and they saying, "Well, is this that's the people? Well, look at them. Look what they doing. See what see our peoples is led by Pastor Porkchop, who keep lying to them and telling them stuff that they want to hear, so they go along with the lies. And then you even got the so-called Muslim, the Arab religion or Arab philosophy. See, and the Arabs live by the laws. That's why all of their women is in order. See, they women ain't dying by major numbers like the so-called black women and the Latino women with they're not flooded with domestic violence and can't find a man and all of this stuff. All of them married in a traditional way, in a biblical way, and they're dressed like in a biblical way. But they doing what the so-called black and Latino women supposed to be doing. See, but they don't. They neighborhoods and they society is not flooded with wickedness. You don't see them. I seen some Arab women at the beach. These women is on at the beach in Florida wearing in 90-degree weather, and they wearing black dresses on the beach. But you can't tell no black woman that because she done been at that Christian church. You can't tell no uh Latino woman that because she done been at that Catholic church. These philosophies and with the Judas goat done led them to destruction in their minds. And so when it comes to the destruction, it's on a physical level because these men is not gonna go for it. That's why domestic violence is at the top level. In the Latino Hispanic nations, these women are dying by domestic violence every 2 hours because the Lord ain't playing with it. He told them, if you despise this word, he gonna destroy you. And he allowed these men to destroy these women because they despise putting on uh, modest apparel. Them wearing modest apparel, that is an abomination to a black and Hispanic woman. It's an abomination. They utterly despise that. And that's why they're being destroyed. The Lord, every 2 hours, he placing judgment on these women. And ain't no telling how many of the so-called black women in America, they coming up missing. You had at one point in time, I think in 2017 or 18, there was white vans popping up in the neighborhood, snatching these women. The missing persons head director, he said out of 800,000 missing people, 60% of those people was the so-called black woman. See, because the Lord is not playing. He's not finna let you break his laws and get off scot-free like the so-called Christian church tell you he doing. Because the evidence is clear. The missing person evidence is clear, and the domestic violence evidence is clear. Sex trafficking, so clear. It's a major problem because that is the judgment of the Lord. What Proverbs 29 and 26. Every man or every woman's judgment is from the Lord. He is causing these things to happen to these women because they're being disobedient and they're following the Judas goat, the so-called white man and white woman religions that tell them that they can do whatever they want to do and God gonna love them. They're in a strip club uh, with a string between their butt cheeks and they praying and all at the same time. What kind of who in the world would convince themselves they can go into some building and grind up on a bunch of drunk men drinking liquor that God gonna still listen to the mess that's coming out of their mouth when they finna go do some abomination, literally adultery. Because some of the women be even married too. Cause I done been in that lifestyle and in these strip clubs, and these women be married, big ring on the finger and everything in the strip club, and they in the back room with dollar bill and they praying with each other. It's just insanity. But I'm gonna leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shah, Bashem Kakadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being the name of his only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, descendants of slaves scattered around the globe. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.